The reason you're struggling on defense right now in college football 26 is because you're using the wrong settings, or worse, you can't stop the run. Luckily for you, I just saw both those issues for this player, and his defense took off overnight. So I know the same thing will happen for you so long as you actually implement all 5 defensive tricks I'm sharing with you in this video, and don't skip out on any of them. Let's jump right into it. The first thing you're going to need to dominate on defense is actually using the right defensive settings that so many players simply don't understand or simply get wrong. Let me show you the best ones to use right now. All right, so if you come into your coaching adjustments by pressing R, the right stick, or R3 on PlayStation, you're going to see your coaching adjustments. So many people don't know what some of these do or which ones are the best to use right now. And I'm here to answer that, all right? So you wanna make sure you have auto flip defensive play turned on. This is gonna help your slot corner come out on the right side or the correct side as the slot receiver, which is going to greatly improve your, alignment on defense. Again, cornerback matchups, same kind of thing. This is gonna make sure that your defense doesn't crisscross when the offense no huddles. Right, I'm gonna show you what that means here in a second, so make sure you have this on balance. Defensive motion response, you always wanna make sure that you have this on disabled. This is going to prevent zone defenders from realigning in response to offensive motion. So if you think of like from Y off trail close, a cheat motion, if you have a cloud flat out there, he's gonna, align or realign if you have it on default possibly. So make sure that you have it on disabled. And then if we scroll, some of these other ones aren't really important until we come to RPO pass key. This is gonna help your guys defend RPOs a little bit better. I would put it on conservative. And so then you come down to zone drops. So many people fantasize and don't quite understand what zone drops settings you should be using, right? But you want to use default 5 and default in most cases, unless you're trying to change up what you're doing. Like if you're trying to defend corner outs, maybe put it on 25. If you're running match coverage, obviously you have to have all 3 of them on default, something else not a lot of people know about. But for the most part, in most zone defense situations, you would just want to use default 5 default, and that'll kind of play well for you. Safety depth close, safety width on pinch. This is going to obviously, as we know, some of you guys know, right? It's going to help you defend the seams a lot better, right? So if you come into pretty much any defense in the game, what a lot of people are going to try to do, if they see a defense maybe like this, like cover 2 or cover 3, whatever it is, they're just going to try to look right at the seam. But what you're going to notice is not only do your hook zones drop really far back to defend the seam when you have your hooks on default in your coaching adjustments, right? When you have them on default, but also your safeties are much closer to the line of scrimmage, which is going to make this a whole lot easier for you to be able to defend, because it's not like they can wait. Like you see right here, if you wait on that throw to get over the top of the hook zone, the safety's already there because you have your safety depth on close. So those are really the best coaching adjustments that you need to be using here, just because those are going to help your alignment on defense, going to help your zones play correctly, and help you defend the seam. But another one that not enough people know about is heat seeker assist, right? And so we scroll down until you find gameplay helpers. You want to make sure that you have heat seeker assist turned on, and you want to have your window size at least at 100%. If you want to turn it up, you can play around with it, but 100% is the default setting once you turn heat seeker assist on. And so really what this is going to do, it's going to allow you to get some of these Superman dive tackles in the backfield, right? So I'm going to tell you guys about another run defense here later in this video, but like this is very important to be able to suction tackle ball carriers in the backfield. You're able to see right there, that's a great example of it, where they run the ball and inside run, I'm able to just loop around and shoot the gap and dive. You see how, like, look at how unrealistic this kind of is. Like, I'm just diving, I start diving like right here. But because I have heat seeker on, the AI is gonna help me get to the ball carrier a lot sooner, a lot better, and it's gonna assist me with making this tackle, cutting out his legs, and bringing him down. That's a very fundamental part of stopping the run, actually being able to loop around and shoot gaps, just like I just did right there. But having heat seeker assist turned on is really going to help you out, and that's probably a setting you've never heard of because not enough people talk about it. But those are the best defensive settings that you need to be using right now. All right, I guarantee you when you load up in your next game, you're going to have to be able to stop corner routes, crossers, posts, something breaking on the deep sideline. Let me show you the best defense to use to be able to stop those deep passes. All right, so this is going to be a great example of when you should change your zone drops, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my coaching adjustments, come down to my zone drop flats, and like I hinted at earlier, if you're trying to defend corner routes, maybe put your flats on 25, right? So this is going to work against, you know, corners, posts, crossers, whatever, breaking deep. But you're going to come into dime or any formation, actually call a cover 2 defense. All right, and here's the thing. You're going to notice how they're going to call a play like this. PA slot corner, they're going to call the play correctly, so they're going to put their slot receiver on a streak. They're going to snap this ball, and you're going to notice how their corner rout's going to be locked down because we're going to have our 25-yard flat that we set our zone drops to. He's going to be sitting all the way out there. But here's the issue, right? Great, the corner rout's defended, but now we're giving up, there's no one in the flat. So like they just can put it like an hour out on the field and turn that into a big gain after the catch. So the solution isn't to call cover 3, because obviously if you just call cover 3, they're just going to be able to hit the corner out if your zones aren't far enough back, right? So here's the solution, right? Cover 2 is the problem, but cover 2 is also the solution if you change it up, right? So what you need to do is you need to press Y twice, then you need to press Y for the 3rd time, or triangle 3 times a PlayStation, and put your slot corner right here in a curl flat, so left stick to the right. Now you're going to see, because you have your zone drop set to 25 for your blue zones and 5 for your purple zones, now you're going to see how it's going to be pretty easy to defend this, right? So you're just going to see how, boom, we take the snap, our curl flat's sitting right on that, we get an interception, and we'd probably be able to return that for a touchdown simply because we have a guy sitting at the right spot. But you're going to notice how it's the same thing. We once again have a guy dropping 25 yards back to be able to defend that deeper pass over the top. So boom, we take the snap, and so then we just throw that pass over the top, and it's just an easy breakup or interception every time. So it's just like playing around with your zone drop. That's why there's never one specific answer for what's the best zone drop setting, because what are you trying to stop, right? You're trying to defend those deeper passes over the top. Those are the best settings to use. Now, what if they combine it, they go to the other side, they try to flood the other side of the field, you know, they have a cross or they have a drag? Well, that's when you can start to use what we call the double Mabel, because you don't necessarily know which side they're going to be attacking, so set it up the same way on both sides, right? You're going to put your outside linebacker here, in this case, in a curl flat as well, and you're going to put your slot corner in a curl flat. So now it's going to look something like this, symmetrical on both sides. So now it doesn't really matter what side they decide to flood, because you're just going to notice how not only do I have that man sitting right there to break up that pass, but my 25-yard flat is going to be dropping back to be able to defend the crosser over the top. Boom, you're just able to see he's sitting right on this to be able to defend that, and then he's sitting right on this underneath pass to be able to knock away that drag. So really, you guys are struggling with corner routes, posts, crossers, anything deep, use 25-yard flats from cover 2, but really when they start to add in that extra element of that, you know, check down to create a true flood concept, that's when this coverage, the double Mabel coverage, you know, really becomes valuable. So just set it up something like this, and you're going to be locking down those deeper routes. All right, so if you found those first 2 defensive tricks helpful here in College Football 26, again, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. You're not going to miss out on any of the tips and tricks I have for you for the rest of the year in College Football 26 and anything in the future. So what are you thinking? Hit that subscribe button. But if you want all 5 of these tips, the 2 that I just broke down and the 3 that I'm about to break down in written form for you to save on your phone and never lose access to them, never have to surf through videos, go to the link down below in the pinned comment or comment the word VOLT. I'll send you the link to join CFB University, where you're going to get your first month for only $1. You're going to get access to all my written breakdowns for the month of April and beyond, and you're going to get access to me in Discord. It's really a no-brainer, and again, your first month's only going to be $1. So what are you thinking? Go join CFB University today. Let's jump right back into the video. All right, everyone loves to focus on glitch blitzes and pass defense, but the reality is if you can't stop the run, no one's going to even think to have to pass the ball. Let me show you the best run defense is super easy right now in CFB 26. All right, so this is going to be really great, especially against inside runs. Outside runs, kind of just what I showed you earlier in the video with heat seeker, assist, trying to loop around, shoot gap, set the edge. But this is just a super easy run defense against inside runs, which, as we know, are the most common type of runs people call in this game. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to notice how there's no flame icon over the top of any of these guys. If you just run mid blitz like this, you're just pretty much just going to get punished on the ground, because there's going to be a wide open gap for them to run through, and then they're going to be able to speed boost out of it. But literally literally as soon as you move your user over the top of this center, you now retarget the offensive line, and now a guy shoots in completely free. I'm not kidding. I mean, college football's been out for 2 years, but like I've been playing Madden for a long time. This is one of the easiest run defenses I've ever seen in any of those games. It's like you don't even have to do anything. You just simply, you see how I'm standing here? As soon as I move over this center, there's a flame icon. Now a guy comes in free. And a bonus tip that you can use is click onto that man so that you can actually make the tackle and not let the CPU, because there will be times where if you run this 100 times, you're going to notice that Jam Miller will break the tackle from the CPU occasionally. But if you click on and conservative tackle by spamming A on Xbox, X on PlayStation, or dive tackling by pressing X on Xbox, square on PlayStation, you're going to notice how he's going to get tackled like every single time, and he's going to have nowhere to run. Again, the best part is you're tackling him literally as soon as he touches the ball, so there's no real chance for them to be able to speed boost away. Right, so again, boom, retarget the offensive line. He comes in free, and that's an example of I didn't click on and Jam Miller breaks a tackle. So that's why I think it's really important for you to actually click on and make that play, especially when you have Heat Seeker on. It's going to make it to where it's going to be like impossible for you. Like you see how right there, I click on, dive, tackle him, cut out his legs before he can even like go anywhere. Like literally as soon as he touches the ball, he's already tackled. Because I dive using Heat Seeker assist, don't let him speed boost, don't let him break that tackle, don't let him do any of that stuff. So the run doesn't have to be hard to stop. You can literally just call a simple defense like this, retarget the offensive line. And another thing that's great about this is there's really nothing that they can do about this, guys. They can't, like, even if they try to move the flame icon, it just adds another flame icon over the top of someone else. Like, it's really just the weirdest thing I've seen where it's really, I mean, you just see how they're just trying to put 2 flame icons, you know, there's now more, and so the whole team comes in. So it's not necessarily like they can move the flame icon over the top of that man. They literally just are just going to be screwed against inside runs, and you're just going to be able to tackle them every single time. So again, stand right here over the center, retarget the offensive line. They take a snap, you dive, tackle him before he can even touch the ball, speed boost away, and make sure he can't break that tackle. But that's the easiest run defense here in CFB 26 from Double Mug. All right, so before I jump to those final 2 tips, again, I wanted to remind you to go down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm the only one right now breaking down daily college football 26 tips and tricks, and you're not going to miss out on any of them. But let's jump to those final 2 tips that you're absolutely not going to want to miss. All right, next I want to show you a fantastic way to make your man coverage 10 times better. If you're going to be running man coverage, you have to be using this secret trick I'm about to show you that not enough people know about. All right, so when you're running man coverage, probably what you're doing is individually or shading the entire team. So, you know, what you're going to do is you're going to press Y and you're going to shade inside or outside. So, but really the problem is that does that for the entire team. So if you shade the entire team outside, and for example, they call it honestly a play like this, where they have a post route and then they have like a drag breaking inside, you're just going to notice how like that pass, he's open. He creates separation. Obviously, there's another defender there, so you wouldn't necessarily throw that. But it's like, look at this. He gets cooked on this because he's standing outside. This guy's running an in-breaking route. Kind of the same thing over here. You know, he is open enough for us to throw this, but you don't want to have to, like, shade your whole team. Instead, what you want to do is you can still shade your whole team inside or outside, but what you need to do to add on top of it is route committing, right? So what you're going to do, you're going to press Y, and you're going to press A, and you're going to click onto the individual. You're going to, so this is the individual coverage menu. So instead of pressing Y twice, now you're going to press Y, A, and now you're going to click onto the receiver that you want to route commit for. So in this case, I'm going to do the outside receiver, Bernard, and I'm going to route commit him specifically inside. So I'm shaded outside, right? The whole team shaded outside, the universal shade outside. So what the offense is going to do is they're going to call these in-breaking routes because they see that you're shaded outside. But because you're route committed inside, you're going to do a whole lot better job of actually defending this, where you're going to see again right there, that man, instead of getting cooked on that route, he basically creates no separation, and he's really just sitting on that. So we look at the replay right here. I mean, like, if you go back and watch the last play that I showed you, this man got cooked on this route. But here, he's just sitting on it, running the route for the guy. He does a great job of breaking on the ball and getting his hands in there and knocking it away. Because, again, we kind of trick the offense into calling a in-breaking route because we shade our whole defense outside, but then specifically on Bernard, we're going to route commit him inside, right? And so really you can do that for the entire team. So what you could really do is you could shade the whole team outside, but then you could route commit every single guy inside. So that's certainly going to take some fast adjustments, some fast, quick adjustment speed. But again, Y, A, X inside, Y, A, Y inside, Y. So it's Y and then A, or triangle and then X on PlayStation. So you know that that's just a muscle memory every time, right? And then you're just gonna probably just route commit the tight end inside, route commit everyone inside. So now I've shaded everyone outside, but I've route committed everyone inside. So really they're just gonna get baited into calling in breaking routes. Again, not to say that none of these routes can get open. Like a drag route can still get open against any type of offense. So it's like, it's not going to be totally foolproof, but it's like you're going to be doing a lot better job if they decide to call like an in route, for example. You're just going to be trailing that route and sitting on it very well. And especially when you combine it with like cover one robber, where you have an inside third, you have a 3-rec hook or a robber defender, you're going to be getting extra support as well. So really the tip here is combine the route commit, combine individually shading with the route commit. You just notice how much of a better job this defender does because he's route committed inside, and we're able to just run this route for this receiver. Same thing over here. I mean, we're a little behind him, but we're still in a great spot if they decide to throw the pass. So that's going to make your man cover 10 times better, because you're going to trick the offense into going the opposite way. Because if you shade inside, they're going outside. If you shade outside, they're going inside if they're smart. But then you're basically tricking them into doing that by route committing the way that they're going to run their route. So start implementing the route commit to your man coverage. It's going to be playing like 10 times better. All right, really the most important thing that gets overlooked on defense in this game is being able to hold the door at the goal line. The drive's not over when they drive the ball inside the 5 or inside the 1. Let me show you the best goal line defense that you need to be using right now. All right, so obviously goal line or red zone defense is anything inside the 20, right? And so I think it's important for you guys to be able to stop RPOs, to be able to stop the run when you are in the red zone. But really, I'm going to talk about here when they drive the ball inside the 1 or the 2 yard line, because that's when I see a lot of people just give up. Oh, the drive's over. No, you're going to come to, especially if they're going to run goal line or a heavy set, you're going to come into goal line, you're going to scroll down to the 5-3 formation, and you're going to flick the right stick to the right until you find the speed package, right? This is going to get your fastest defensive lineman on the field, which is honestly going to help your guys shed just like a millisecond or two. You know, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe it might be a little bit faster, but you're going to help these guys get off the ball a little bit faster, and it's going to obviously help your defense. But you're going to come into gap speed. That's going to be the play that you call. And what you're going to notice is there's a huge gap right in between the center and the right guard, so over next to 77, right? So sometimes he'll be able to fall forward into that gap and score. Like right here, he got stood up, but there's going to be times where he's just able to fall forward because that gap's open. So really what you need to do is pinch your defensive line. So now that gap is kind of taken away, but there's still some space there, right? So now what we're going to do, we're going to basically plug that hole by standing right here with our user defender. And what you're going to notice is you want to be as close to a line of scrimmage as possible without being offside. So for me, there's going to be no blue line for you in a game, but you just have to get a good feel for it. So I'd probably stand right about here. But what you're going to notice is as soon as the quarterback takes the ball, there's no real chance for him to fall forward or get into that gap, because your user is going to just push him to the ground every time. This is another example of where heat seeker becomes valuable, because you're basically just going to be heat seeking the quarterback, and the game's going to be assisting you in doing that. So again, as close to the line of scrimmage as possible without being called for offsides, take the snap, and you're able to see right there how I hit stick him and he fumbles, right? Hopefully you'd be able to fall on the ball as well. It's not going to happen every time, but it's like you're going to just make sure that the quarterback can't sneak the ball and can't fall into the end zone. Now, what they might do is because I'm always going to give you guys the counter to everything, right? What they might do is they're going to see you standing in this gap, and so they're not going to run there. They're going to flip their play, and now they're going to go to the other side. Well, now you just know they just flipped their play because the tight end motion, so now you know that they're going to this side. Whichever side that outside tight end is on, Dolan 89, is the side they're running to with the quarterback, right? So now I just come stand in this gap, and it's the same thing. I just push the quarterback to the ground immediately instead of him being able to fall into gaps and be able to score touchdowns. So again, it's going to be the same thing. Even if they change up the run, let's just have them go to power O, right? Because you don't necessarily know if they're going to call sneak, they're going to call dive, they're going to call power O, but you're going to set it up the same way, where now you're going to stand in that same gap, But now there's going to be 2 flame icons, kind of like I showed you with the double mug automatic run defense. Now there's going to be 2 flame icons over your defensive linemen. And so you're going to see how either they're going to tackle the quarterback before he can even hand the ball off, or they're just going to tackle the ball carrier before he has anywhere to go. So really standing in this spot with your user is the most important thing to unlock this defense and make it, nearly unbeatable for them with any run on the goal line. So you're going to see it again, boom, that time that he gets the handoff off, but then we just tackle the ball carrier as soon as he touches it. So really, I'm telling you guys, the drive is not over when they get the ball inside the 1 or the 2 yard line. Get into goal line 5-3, utilize the speed package, stand in the right spot, and shut all these runs down before the quarterback even has a chance to go anywhere. All right, so if you found any of those 5 defensive tips helpful here in College Football 26, again, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. You're absolutely not going to miss out on any of the daily tips and tricks I have for you to get better here in College Football 26 and beyond. But if you want all 5 of these tips and setups in written form for you to save on your phone in your next game, you never lose access to them, you never have to go surfing through a video, go to the link down below in the pinned comment or come to work full. I'll send you the link to join CFB University, where your first month is only going to be $1. It's really a no-brainer. It's going to help you transform your defense here in College Football 26. I can't wait to help you out, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.